mtoto geti kali, hana mapozi yake ya kiswazi. She's a beautiful lady, she's a good for me. Nimependa mtoto geti kali, hana mapozi yake hatari. She's a beautiful lady, she's a good for me.
Kevin Chris Kazura, from this little country in Central Africa called Rwanda, and I live in this small city, also in the middle of my country called Kigali. It's a pretty small city, but it's okay. I mean, no, it's pretty urban. I mean, you got skyscrapers and all of that. Well, like any other teenager here in America, it's just like most people look at Africa as this stereotypically poor area. But I mean, I'm generalizing saying this, but some other people just look at it as like the poor continent. But you have to look at it at every perspective, that this continent also has like normal places just like here in America. It has both urban places and also poor places, just like any other continent. Mother language is Kinyarwanda, and also another common language is French, which I also speak, and English too. English is getting like really popular. It's been popular for like the last 5 years.
Okay.
Studying this boarding school. I started at that boarding school when I was like 13. And after that, there's this test you usually take around that time, like when I was like around 16. I think it was like freshman year or like sophomore year. And around that time, there's this test you can take, and if you get really good grades on it, you can get sponsored by the Rwandan government or get sponsored by a school that like actually sees your talent or whatever, your grades. And if you get really good grades, they can actually sponsor you to take you to like transfer you to another country and study abroad. And fortunately, I got transferred in Kansas. Well, the academic system was different from here. We used to it was divided in like 3 categories. We didn't have semesters. We had, in French we call them trimestres. We used to do like basically 3 quarters. It's like one during spring, one during summer, and one during winter, which is rainy season back home. But in the middle of it all, we used to have like really small breaks. And the biggest break we could get is like from November to December, which... So the government, like, I also really don't understand really well how they do it, but usually they get these kids like from different schools, and they give you this test, different from any other test, and all the classes you've taken, and they just see your general knowledge of like everything. Like, it's either history, science, and it's all in one test. But I actually got decent grades to actually get transferred. I just remember having this image of America as like tall skyscrapers everywhere, kind of like New York. But as soon as I got to Kansas, it was just like farms. It's like, what? You know? And I was in this really small town called Hayes. Everybody knew each other. It was just full of like farms, small buildings and all that. And I was like, oh, this is not what I expected. The people were nice, and we were like, it was a really diverse city, because I wasn't the only one from like a different country. We had a bunch of people from Korea, China, India, and I got to like familiarize with them.
Okay.
So I got to be like really good friends with them, and I got other friends in Hayes. I didn't think it was gonna be that diverse because everywhere I would go, I would see like different like ethnic groups, races, and I was like, oh, I only thought it was gonna be white. But that was also the perspective I had before coming here. I used to look at it as just like a white country, but as soon as I landed here, I was like, oh, just like any other country. Because back home, we also have very many races. They transferred me in Kansas. There's this small Catholic school, really small city too, and I studied there for 3 years. I went there in sophomore year, junior year, senior year, and most of my times back home as a kid, it was like either playing soccer outside or coming back home and watch TV. After that, like as soon as I got here and like people started noticing my height, they were like, "Oh, you should play basketball." And at that time, basketball is just like a sport. I still don't even know a lot of things. It's just I had to learn a few things, like pick up a few stuff as I go, and I'm still learning. I felt like my eyes were like more open. I could bring a lot of my opinions and views back home.
Nimependa mtoto geti kali, hana mapozi yake ya kiswazi. She's